Welcome to the Brick and Butter Zone. I'm your host, Case Erickson, here to talk to restaurateurs who reveal their secret recipes for success. You will be encouraged, equipped, and inspired to take your business to the next level. It's like butter, baby. Butter! So buckle up and get in the zone. Okay, today we have Bridget Dunlap with us, the queen of Rainey Street, and I don't know how she feels about that, but we're going to get her feelings on that here in this conversation. We're going to get her feelings on really her journey and how she's kept it real, how she's kept it inspiring, and Bridget is amazing because she has agreed to be here and share her heart, share her story, share her inspiration for you so that no matter where you are in your journey, you know you can keep on keeping on and keep it real. Bridget, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to be here. I appreciate it.
No problem, Brian. Thank you very much for thinking of me.
Yeah. So really quick, I wanted to tell the listeners that when I first met you a few years ago, and what really resonated with me about you and really what I loved about you is your story. And I'm going to let you tell the story, but you know, you really resonated with me as someone who was authentic and real and you know, all these things that I'm passionate about in keeping business real and keeping ourselves real, and your journey from the ashes, the phoenix from the ashes of Rainey Street. So tell us really quick what inspired you, or where did you get this idea to do, and I don't know if you want to touch on your feelings of being dubbed the Queen of Rainey Street or not. I'll leave that up to you, but what inspired you to start this journey? Where did you get this idea?
I got the idea because I had just, while I was doing another bar in Houston in 2007 or 2008 on a street that reminded me of Rainey, which I didn't know Rainey then. But I started this bar there, and now it's a huge bar district. And when I did see Rainey, I thought, wow, I just did this on a much larger scale. This should be easy. And I could see the Four Seasons residential tower being built, which I thought was a plus. I could see the freeway. I could see the Frost Tower. So I was really inside the city. So that was my inspiration.
So I guess rewind a little bit for the people who are in this space of, you know, maybe they're just got a food truck, or maybe they're starting about a food truck, or maybe they're chefs or caterers, or they're talking to their investors. Mm-hmm. What led to your bar in Houston? How did that happen?
That was, I had been in the industry forever, of course, and I was teaching Pilates, and I had just had a child, so I was a single mom. I was doing technical writing, and when that would all get dried up, I would bartend again, which I hadn't done for a long time. And then I made a business plan for a friend of mine, a very simple business plan, and I watched him open a bar, and I thought, why did I do that for him? I can do that for myself. And so I then made my own business plan, raised $200,000. Imagine that, doing a bar on 200, and I put 80 in, but and was able to open a bar almost a year. No, it took me 2 years later to raise the money. It took about a year-ish, which was one of the hardest parts. But I got it up and running and paid my investors back within 4 months. And
wow, that's amazing.
It gave me, yes, that's kind of a lottery story, I think. I feel, and I don't want to discourage anybody, but that just went off with a huge success. But I figured with the stars, the universe, and whomever else you may believe in, that I had failed at so many things prior that finally it was my turn.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you saying that, because I also want to get people into the space of, you know, it's not necessarily a lottery. I feel like we're all here on this earth with the lottery at our disposal in terms of this mindset and this commitment and this drive and this faith. And it doesn't necessarily, while I, love the people who have achieved success, there are certain principles that we can follow that will allow for the people to show up and for the investors to show up and for the business to show up and for the money to show up. And it's not really luck if in the back of our minds we have it that this is going to work out, this is my turn.
Brian, I agree with you 100%. I think that's a huge part of what we're talking about, regardless if you're a caterer, a baker, a food truck owner, or whatever. It's standing by those principles, because those are what take you from making a dream a reality. Does it happen in 2 years? No, not always. Is there a formula? No. Is your first one going to be a success? No, not always. It could be. And I mean, I think that is the most important thing to reiterate, just that you can do it. It's not easy. It is a commitment. I feel like you have to have a belief in yourself and that you deserve it, and that if I work hard enough, it will be there. But it isn't luck.
Right, exactly. Like, we're not laying on the couch doing our secrets and law of attraction mumbo jumbo. We're actually like getting out there and, shoveling the shit as you're
totally shoveling shit.
Yeah.
And the shit doesn't stop coming either. You're shoveling shit continuously. Even when you think you've made it.
Yeah, it just changes flavors,
whatever that
pretty
means.
Much.
Whatever made it means.
Yeah, so tell me, one of the things that I heard you tell a story, maybe you can touch on really quickly, was that shoveling shit moment in Lester Pearl's history, and how you reacted to people's, naysayers, I'll call them, to what your intention was.
You mean how they would say, "Why would you open a bar on Rainey Street?"
Yeah, like how did you react?
There.
What was your reaction to the naysayers?
Well, and this is a big message too. There's going to be naysayers everywhere, and I know I didn't handle it gracefully or well the first time, but the second time. But that's your dream. That's your bar on Rainey Street, street that was riddled with drugs and rock and roll and whatever people want to say. But I just thought it was a great place. I thought it was a great place. Me. So if it turned to shit, who was responsible for it? Me. And so I think that's another thought process or a mindset is it's yours, all caps, YOURS, nobody else's. So people are going to talk shit about you all the time. It doesn't ever end. And you have to.
I'm so happy you said that, because I think a lot of us in our journey, we're XYZ or we're ABC, and we're like, oh, when I get XYZ, oh, there's Bridget. She has, whatever. What are you up to now? 10? I don't even know. Like, yeah, I should have done more research. Okay, 10. 10 felt right to me. You're up to 10, right? So we're like, okay, then I'll get the respect, or then I'll have the blah, 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 or, then I'll be at the space where XYZ, right? Like, we have it that it's out there, it's over there. The relief that we can give ourselves from the opinions of others is some other day away. And I love that you said that it's always going to be there. And at the end of the day, it's you, it's yours, it's your responsibility. I love that you said that.
I mean, that XYZ, I don't care if you finally got a new car and you're not driving your hoopty and you finally were able to buy a house or whatever those monetary goals were to you, and how big and huge they seemed and what mountains they were at the beginning. Even when you do accomplish those, and I'm speaking from gratitude, but it doesn't change anything about what people think about you or what people say about you. They might be a little kinder to your face, but when they turn their backs, it's the same thing. So again, you have to be grateful for it and know that you worked hard for it, and the naysayers are going to always be there, and they're never going to quit.
Yes.
So handle it with grace and gratitude, and just know it was yours.
Yeah, it's like, I love you and fuck you.
Oh, absolutely. But I don't really love you. Just okay, thank you, and fuck off. But that's giving them too much energy anyway.
Okay, I'll receive that. Thank you and fuck off.
That's right.
That's awesome. So tell me too, what is one? I know you probably have a highlight load of what the fuck moments where you were just kind of up against a wall, where it was just like, what the hell am I going to do? Is there one thing that stands out of your mind as where you just were confronted with, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if this is going to happen.
Yes. Brian, that moment has happened over and over and over, and I'm sure I'll revisit it again. But I have two quick answers to that. I do remember opening Luster on Rainey, and then soon after opening Clive, and it was a winter like the rain we've dealt with in the past 7 weeks, but it continued for the whole months of November, December, January, and February, and I had double the overhead. I'd cannibalized the people that were coming, and also the weather was terrible, and I had no money coming in. And I thought, you know what, Bridget, maybe Pearl Bar in Houston, you had a good go. You had a short go at it here in Austin with these two bars, and maybe you're done because you were so underwater, literally, figuratively. And I don't have I did not, I still don't really have a big savings account to go to. I didn't have a daddy to go to. I didn't have anybody. So I thought, yeah, what the fuck, this is it. And I have another one. I remember shortly during this time, I went to my house and there was a note on from the IRS because I hadn't been paying my bills quarterly. And so they were going to lock down everything, all my accounts and everything until I was able to pay them.
IRS.
freeze the account,
yeah.
freeze everything. Yeah. So that's scary too. But there's been a million, and when you go into endeavors like whether it's food or anything that you're being an entrepreneur in, it doesn't stop. And you know, maybe some people plan better. Some people knew to pay the IRS quarterly, but I just jump in and do it, and there's always backlash to that. I just learn as I go. So I've learned a lot, and I've had a ton of those moments.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what created the shift for you when the weather was that way and you were getting like double whammy, opening bar, cannibalizing this? What created the shift when you were, you know, God, I don't know if I can do this. I think we're done. Like where did this shift, or what stands out for you that was the breakthrough in that story?
You know, I think the breakthrough was the weather. It stopped raining and it got beautiful, and everybody came back, and I was able to start generating cash flow again. And yes, I was behind with everybody. You know, I shouldn't say this, but it's true. It's still when you could float checks and bounce checks, and you know, exactly. I was just doing whatever I could.
Yeah,
and it was not pretty. You know, I had my kid in private school, and it was an expensive private school, and I scraped everything together to pay his last piece of tuition for his report card, and it was a horrible report card, and I thought to myself, I should have saved that for something else.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
And not that shitty report card.
You're like, I saved up for this shit. That's
totally.
awesome.
It was hard.
But you know what I hear in that is that, you know, there was that internal dialogue, that conversation of, you know, maybe we're done, and you didn't done yourself, you know, and it goes back to, could we say it's luck? Could we say it's the weather? You know, at the end of the day, you didn't done yourself. You know, you were scraping up the stuff. You were just doing what you needed to do, and that is what I feel, you know, from the outside hearing, that is what shifts the energy around, okay, this bitch is for real. You know, she's got this, you know, let's part the clouds and part the rain and allow for some success.
It's called tenacity. It's called grit. It's called just, you know, it's called tough. It's called, you've got skin all under your fingernails. It's not pretty, shall we say? But
yeah, you
know, if you're gonna be a quitter, I wouldn't even waste your time or someone's money or your own to go into a game like this, because there's no glamour to it. It's just a lot of hard work. And people ask me all the time, how, especially when I did the first bar, I teaching Pilates and had a technical writing job and bartending, and it took me forever to raise the money. The piddly old $200,000, that's all I needed. And I was still paying on the space that I was going to put the bar in for 2 years. And that was an extra $2,000 that I didn't have, but I refused to let go of it because I just thought and felt and knew, and I was determined to get it. And people kept saying, "What? It's not going to happen. You need to just give up. It's not going to work, obviously." And I was like, go fuck yourself. I'll figure it out when it's time to give up. There's a glass ceiling to teaching Pilates and doing technical writing and bartending. There's a big glass ceiling, and I wasn't okay with that glass ceiling.
Yeah, I love that quote too. Go fuck yourself. I'll tell myself when it's time to quit.
That's right.
That's awesome.
Really, literally, please go.
That's awesome. And one other thing I heard for you to say that I think a lot of my clients and listeners would love to hear is your willingness to just start. And what I hear kind of gets a lot of business owners stopped up from starting is that minutia of, I call it mental masturbation, pardon the language, but it's just, it's the little gerbil wheel that we get into trying to have it all figured out, and the illusion is that the plan is not even a fucking plan because once you do start, everything gets fucked up and you have to adapt and all these other things. So like being married to the plan is in fact what holds us back. So was that always your business?
That would be fear-based, Brian.
Yeah.
That's fear-based. And that's, again, you have to be a gambler. You have to have no fear because that little gerbil wheel is going to turn and your plan's going to change constantly, and it's tough. So you either have to continue to run on that gerbil wheel and fluctuate and be malleable with what is thrown at you. Otherwise, again, it's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, and just starting and moving forward, just going from like point A to point B and not getting stuck in your brain about having to have it all figured out first.
You can't have it all figured out because, what I think there's two things. You can, for example, let's say with a business plan, you've got your whole business planned out on these 60 pieces of paper with pro formas and supposed P&Ls and costs and returns and that sort of thing. Well, you plan that out in your mind so you do have a base or a foundation of what you plan to do. But from my experience, that plan and what your business plan says forever changes. But at least you have that foundation of what you know and what you think you're going to make of it, and then you just roll with it and don't get stuck with all the tiny details that infringe on people's minds where it's too much, You just have to go balls to the wall and say, fuck it. If I fail, I fail. And failure, like before I had that one successful place, failure was what I knew. I hadn't known much as far as success, And failure, when that's all you know, it doesn't hurt that badly. So if you have the balls, do it. But I think also I have had one place be what I call my biggest failure, and man, it was hard to let go of. It was hard to let go of that and say, yeah, you know what, I failed. Whatever I did didn't work, and you have to own it, and at some point be okay with it. I'm not saying it's easy either, but that's part of this game too.
Yeah, just owning it, and that's
what like I said, it's yours, all caps.
Yes, and that's just really what I love about who you are and what you're up to creating in the world and creating this space where, people can take responsibility for themselves. How have you seen that translate into your actual business, like your actual employees and customers and vendors and all these things? Are they all kind of in this space like, oh, Bridget can do it, I can too, and fostering that family environment and that team environment? Have you is that kind of the trickle down effect of your commitment and your discipline and tenacity, or has it just been the typical, oh God, we don't have good people, oh blah blah?
No,
blah.
I don't do that. You know how I am, Brian. Boston. Yeah. Brian, I do like to foster a positive environment and an environment where it trickles down, and they do know that, hey, she's growing, she hires within. There's a chance, or if I work hard enough and show her that I'm worthy and I can do the job, that there's more to this than bartending or waiting tables. With her growth, I can do something else, and I think that makes them feel good, and I treat them like they're my own children. So it's not just some employee, which I think it costs zero money but it has given me so many what I feel are very supportive and loyal employees, especially in this genre of work, that the turnover is very, very small.
Yes, and I love that. I love that. I love hearing that, and that's one of the things that, when I heard you speak, you were calling your restaurant employees your kids, and I'm like, oh, I used to call my kids my kids. Like, I just call them my kids even when I'm referring to them as employees, because they weren't. I'm like, what's up, kids? And this was before I even had kids, and, I think that does trickle down, when we talk about employee retention. I mean, that's a huge, huge, huge impact to your business and really to the bottom line. People know that, Jen is always going to be working on Monday, and Jen's always there, and Jen's happy, Jen feels valued. Jen's going to stay, like it's really,
it's
really
deal.
Important. And I love that you said that it doesn't cost anything to value someone else.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it doesn't cost anybody, and it's saving yourself business, because to rehire or have people that don't feel as though they're valued, they're going to steal. They're not going to treat the business with respect like you would want them to. It's just a really simple thing to do, and I've been given it back a million times. So I'm a big believer in that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So I really appreciate that. And, kind of tying into what you just said about, hey, we're growing and we're doing this and we're doing that. And you are someone who's got a thousand things. Every time I turn around, you're opening something, or you're taking over the world / Austin. Austin's very much a global stage. Everybody looks to Austin. So, I've seen here and there you want to work on a memoir and a book, which I totally support. I think you're amazing and your story's amazing, and it needs to be told. What other projects or things or growth, or what's your vision for what's next?
The memoir is definitely what's next. I think I'm suffering a little PTSD right now, since we did all three of those projects this year, which was really not a humane thing to do. So I'm taking that break, and like I said, the PTSD is wearing off slowly, and I'll be getting back to my memoir.
Okay.
And I'm thinking big right now, but I'm also not thinking. I'm thinking mergers and acquisitions. I'm going to go big, and then I also sit in my space where I'm not doing anything, and I'm thinking, what else can I do? There's a school that I want to help, that I've promised to help, and I need to, once my PTSD wears off, get up and do that. It's about giving back too, and I'm just trying to formulate a bigger plan. But sometimes I think that takes a minute, especially after you've done a whole bunch in a short amount of time and kind of grinded everything you had. It's time to sit still, gather your thoughts, your strengths, and see where everything's sitting, and then figure it out. But I do have my memoir. I am thinking merger acquisition. I do want to help this school, but I want to go big.
Go big or done. Go home, Bridget.
That's right, Brian.
That is awesome. Well, on that note, I'll leave you be to dream big, get some rest. We'll put some contact links for all your amazing establishments. I know the most recent ones that have opened up here in Austin. Ophelia's is the one. So the three that just opened. Tell me real quick the three that just opened.
Ophelia, Parlor Yard, Lester Rainey.
Yes.
And then Burn is kind of new too.
Yes. And so Ophelia, I love Lindsay, and that's a whole other story. Lindsay and Baton Creole.
Oh, yeah.
She's amazing. And yeah, the next one I want to talk to is Lindsay for sure, because I remember meeting her a couple years ago, and with Trucklandia that we were doing the little $10,000 ditty, and she's just awesome and amazing and fun, and I wish nothing but her success, and I wish nothing but you success, and obviously you will achieve it. If you believe it, you will achieve it, Bridget.
That's right. It's that simple. Keep your ass out there and start working.
Yeah, honey. Well, I definitely appreciate getting caught up and appreciate your time. And thank you again so much.
You're welcome, Brian. Thank you for thinking of me.
Yeah. Bye-bye, honey.
Bye. Thanks.
Thank you for listening in to this week's episode of the Brick and Butter Zone. If you haven't already, go on over to brickandbutter.com. Download your free mindset reset affirmations. And most importantly, feed your face, spread the love, and stay in the zone.